Hi YouTube, welcome back to Wtf Rc Cars. So, going to cover something that I don't really get a chance to do because I'm usually really busy with videos, but I thought this one kind of give you an idea of some of the stuff I've had on show and tell you how I'm getting on with the new NB4 Plus and a bit of a update on the D2 EVO. So yeah, let's bring you in for a close-up look and give you a long-term review on a few things I've been running, let you know how things have been going, and tell you how I'm getting on with the NB4 Plus. So, start off with the actual D2 EVO itself. Now, this little RC possibly got off to a bit of a rocky start, if I can remember off the top of my head. This arm always broke off really easy. The initial run had these holes drilled in the wrong place, but they did send out new parts straight away and corrected that. Other than that, I've never had any issues with this car. The shocks tend to leak a little bit, but I've never really done anything since I built this to stop it. I've never gone back in and put any O-ring grease on it or anything, and they're still working. But the way it drives, absolutely love it. I mean, I've been to Mansfield with these tyres and they're pretty worn. They're the original set of tyres, and I managed to take second in B final, and there's some pretty quick drivers there. And also it's a weird setup where you're allowed to run foam tyres, which are way faster than rubbers. But that's changing when they get the new carpet, I believe. But yeah, so on worn-out tyres, getting second in B final, pretty happy with it. I'll put the lap times up if I remember. So while we're doing this video, I'll have a few at lap times. I'll put them up round here somewhere. But yeah, the car, absolutely bulletproof. I mean, if you look at the chunk I've managed to take out of this arm, and it still didn't snap. So the new revised arm's way stronger. I've had no issues getting it dialed in for the track. The suspension's fine, copes easily with the 5.5 turn motor. Some guys probably say it's too much for two-wheel drive, but working into the sheer amount of throttle control you've got with the NB4 Plus, Flysky radio gear setup, and the XR10 Pro Elite Hobbywing ESC, I never have a problem where the power-up motor is too much for a car, and it comes in really handy if you're on that long straight. You've got the legs to catch up on the next car in front of you. Now, on this one, I do run the INR4 receiver, but with the gyro disabled, just because I had it kicking about when I built this, so I decided to put it in. The AGFRC servo that I used in this one has been absolutely fantastic. I've sent this car cartwheeling down the entire size of track. No issues with it, and I'm still using the original metal servo arm. So that servo, there's no servo saver, and most of the parts on this are aluminium, so that's had a beating. No issues with it whatsoever. Absolutely love how this thing drives. And to say how worn these tyres are, I'm amazed to get the times that I did with it. I really should have put some new ones on, and I think these are a couple of years old. So when they get the new track at Mansfield, I will be swapping these. As for the NB4 Plus controller, few useful things that I have set up. So there's two little adjustable dials on the side. I have the top one set so I can knock the dual rate down for the steering. I have the bottom one set so I can knock the dual rate down for the actual forward throttle. And then on the dial on the back here, I have that set so I can reduce the brake or go full brake. And I'd rather have them settings, so I tend to set the brake higher on the ESC and then knock the dual rate down to drop my braking force on the transmitter so I can change it on fly, so as the track conditions change. Now, battery-wise, I have been running these from Sunpadow that they sent me. I've been running these now for around a year, I believe, and I cannot fault these batteries. They're not the cheapest, but they are absolutely solid. They're consistent. We've got no swelling on them. They're exactly the same as they were when they arrived. The balance between cells on them is brilliant. I get no issues with them getting really hot, which I did have with the Team Orion batteries, I believe. I think it was Team Orions that swelled up. After each race, they were red hot, even with a two-wheel drive buggy. And I did try one of them in my touring car with a 17.5 turn motor, and they still swelled up, which is insane, because that's really not high power draw. But yeah, these batteries have been absolutely fantastic. On the controller side, I've had no issues with sort of reliability. There doesn't seem to be any weirdness with any of the setup, so I don't have to do anything different with exponential or anything like that. More to the point is it just comes back to center every single time, and especially with the AGFRC servos, they can be really sensitive. Has no issues hitting center every single time I come off of a turn, and the throttle control on it is absolutely fantastic. It's one of the reasons I get away with running like a 5.5 turn motor on a carpet racing two-wheel drive buggy, that's a lot of motor for a two-wheel drive buggy, but the amount of control it gives you running the Flysky radio, it's absolutely fine. Reliability on this car, I've literally not changed anything other than the arm that kept snapping. So the initial arm snapped, then they sent me a replacement out that wasn't the new V2, and that snapped after about a race. But this is the original V2 arm that I fitted, and even though it's been hit enough to take a great chunk out of it, no issues with the arm at all. Coincidentally, the left-hand arm is still the original V1. I've never had that arm go. It's always been the front of the left arm, sorry. So the right arm, that's still the original V1. Everything else on it, though, is pretty much stock setup, stock as it come. I've not upgraded anything, not replaced anything. I just keep it clean, but I've not cleaned it down since last race, so we got bits of carpet all over it. But yeah, it's been a really fun RC to drive. It's predictable lap after lap. The way these batteries discharge helps with how predictable it is, and the Flysky controller with this car just works absolutely amazing. Definitely a lot more fun to drive than my I've got the 2020 XB4. That's never really raced brilliantly on carpet. I tend to think that were more of a dirt setup, and XERUN just didn't release a carpet version for 2020. But yeah, it keeps up with any of the other brands. I've raced it against Schumacher, XERUN, Mugen. It holds its own against it. So I don't think for me there's any concerns with this car now. The one thing that I did find disappointing is they made a few mistakes with this but quickly fixed them, and then released the four-wheel drive version, and to what I can tell, they machined the hubs wrong and they were catching. So it's like you get an awful lot of car for your money, but maybe don't buy the first version that they release. But then again, look at Team Associated's latest cars with the holes drilled in wrong place on the bulkhead and the pins falling out at back wheels. So yeah, it just seems to be an ongoing thing with the RC car manufacturers. They come up with an idea and just don't test them. Or they come up with an idea, test them, and find the faults and think we'll release a newer version, and people will have to go out and buy that as well. But yeah, just my thoughts and an update, because I don't get a lot of chance to do this. The batteries with this car, the setup what I run in this, the actual car itself, and the Flysky NB4 Plus radio just seem to be such a good combination. I've not noticed any software glitches or anything on this. The batteries definitely last a lot longer, which it should because it's higher capacity. The wheel feels really, really nice to race with. But yeah, just thought I'd give you guys a rare update on my channel of like a long-term review of stuff. Coincidentally, all these parts are still original, so still original ESC and motor, not had to do anything with that. The rocket fan, been absolutely fantastic. And yeah, even the body that I wasn't really impressed with, because if anybody saw my original videos, this bit were really thin, so I ended up cutting it out just to let a bit of air flow through it. But it does still hold together. It still fits, and it's had a good few bashes to the point where it's cracked the paint off it a little, but the body shell is still intact. And that all I use for a bit of airflow down to the motor. I did drill, I'm not sure how well you'll be able to see them, but I did drill a few holes inside here for the fan, just in case that motor was getting a bit hot, but temperature wise not had an issue with it. But let's wrap this one up. So there we have it. I just wanted to give you guys a sort of a bit of a more long-term review and a check-in of some of the stuff that I've had on channel. It's not been requested by Flysky or Sunpadow or HB Racing. It's just a genuine review of how I've got on with this thing. I will say it got off to a rocky start with a few bits wrong and the arm snapping, but I really can't fault it now, and it's pretty much one of my favourite RCs to race. The batteries have been fantastic, and the Flysky radio seems to work just as good as what any others have. I've not had any issues with it, no glitching, no range issues, no software reset, anything like that. So yeah, just thought I'd give you guys a rare for my channel, but a bit of a long-term catch-up on stuff that I've had on channel, and so you can see how I'm getting on with things. But if you like this kind of content, don't forget to like and subscribe, hit the notification bell, share to friends and family, and catch you guys again in the next one.